I want to tell you my secret now.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie characters who were dead the whole time.
They're coming after me. Louis.
For this list, we're looking at film characters that were revealed to have been dead for the majority of the runtime. Therefore, we'll be prioritizing characters whose fate is treated as a twist, as opposed to deaths established early on. This means major spoilers ahead. Which of these caught you the most off guard? Know of any others? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 10. Coulter Stevens, Source Code. This sci-fi thriller has plenty of twists and turns that keep you guessing. Following a train bombing, the U.S. government uses experimental tech that lets one man experience those events in an attempt to stop further attacks.
A man named Sean Fentress was on that train. He, for all intents and purposes, is now you.
Army Captain Coulter Stevens is that man, yet he is completely unaware of what's happening when the movie begins. In fact, the last thing he remembers is being on tour in Afghanistan. He's charged with finding the bomber, yet he can only relive the same 8-minute increment before the explosion.
You know me well enough that if I did something that looked a little strange and was maybe even a little bit dangerous, but I told you to trust me anyway, that you could do that?
Stevens believes he's in a simulation, and those in charge are pretty cagey with information. Eventually, it's revealed that he died in action, and his mind is only being held together by the source code machine.
Somewhere at the source code facility, you have a Captain Coulter Stevens waiting to send on a mission. Promise me you'll help him.
Number 9. Joe, Safe Haven.
You guys have any job openings?
We've been awfully busy lately. I might can work you in. I'm not sure. Do you have any experience?
Based on Nicholas Sparks' novel of the same name, Safe Haven follows Erin, a woman on the run from her abusive cop husband. In a new town, she falls for Alex, a widower and father of 2 children. However, he isn't the only new person Erin lets into her life. She also befriends her neighbor Joe.
I mean, isn't it so nice to be away from all that noise and that chatter? I mean, it can be a little bit deafening sometimes.
While Joe just seems like the supportive friend archetype found in many romantic movies, there's a lot more to her. In the end, Alex gives Aaron a letter from his late wife Carly, who left it for the next woman he would fall in love with.
To the woman my husband loves. If you're reading this, then it must be true. He loves you.
The picture inside reveals that Joe was really Carly's spirit, watching over her family and ensuring her husband would find love again. Number 8. Lucas, Goodnight Mommy. Being a single parent is excruciatingly hard, but the twins in Goodnight Mommy really put their mother through the ringer.
Wie schaut denn das Quant aus? Der ganze Schmutz. Das muss man sofort ausziehen.
Or at least one of them does. The film follows Elias and Lucas, who believe their mother has been replaced by an imposter after she returns from facial surgery and starts acting more aggressively.
Geht's noch? Mama! Hey, auf!
In order to get the truth out of her, the boys resort to some pretty disturbing methods, including tying her up and supergluing her lips closed so she can't yell for help. However, the mother is far from the villain the boys think she is. Elias is suffering from dissociative identity disorder, hallucinating Lucas, as he hasn't come to terms with his twins drowning.
Du bist nicht schuld am Unfall. Du glaubst ja wirklich.
Number 7. Tom Webster, Last Christmas. Who doesn't love a good holiday rom-com? Well, if you want one with a happy ending, maybe Last Christmas isn't for you. It follows the down-on-her-luck Kate, who falls for the far more optimistic Tom.
Actually, who are you?
I'm Tom.
Kate? Why are you so flexible?
Why are you dressed like an elf?
Throughout, Tom's charming nature rubs off on Kate, causing her to change her life for the better. She reveals to him that her life was saved through a heart transplant 1 year prior.
They took out my heart. They took it and threw it away,
And if you're familiar with the Wham song the movie gets its name from, you may have guessed what was coming next. Kate learns that Tom was killed in a bike accident and that he was the organ donor who saved her life. At least she still gets to have a goodbye with his ghost.
Where can I feel you?
Because I'm a part of you.
Number 6, Mary Henry, Carnival of Souls.
It's Mary Henry.
Are you all right?
How'd you get out?
Yeah, put this on. We better get you back to town.
If a movie opens with someone miraculously surviving a car crash, viewers should be skeptical. But in the 1960s, this type of twist was far from common. Mary Henry walks away from such an event and moves to Salt Lake City for a new job.
I went for a long drive in the country with my new boss, an elderly minister. Oh.
Unfortunately, she starts having disturbing visions of a strange, pale-faced man and his accompanying ghouls. She also goes through periods where no one can see or hear her.
That's just what I need. Get mixed up with some girl who's off her rocker.
I don't want to be left alone!
All the while, she's drawn to an abandoned pavilion, which used to be a carnival before it closed down. At the end, she sees a pale version of herself dancing with the man while the ghouls surround her. Cutting back to the opening, it's revealed Mary never survived the car crash. Number 5, the support group, Passengers. Usually it's one person who's been dead the whole movie, but Passengers went the extra mile.
You're not gonna get away with this! This man remembers an explosion!
It follows a support group of plane crash survivors and their therapist, Claire Summers. When one of them goes missing, Claire believes the airline is responsible and trying to cover up its fault in the crash.
He's been following me.
Who is he?
I think he's with the airlines. They've been monitoring us.
As more members begin to disappear and Claire witnesses things she can't explain, the truth becomes much harder to swallow. As it turns out, the survivors and Claire all died in the crash. Those who disappeared only did so when they were ready to move on. As for the rest of the characters, they were made up of familiar faces to ease the group's passing.
We're not gonna make it!
Yes, we are! Yes, we are! Yes, we are!
Number 4, Pae Soo-yeon, A Tale of Two Sisters. Following a stay in a mental health facility, Soo-mi returns home to find things are not going so well.
일에 대해서 좀 얘기해 줄 수 있을까?
Her father is distant, her stepmother is ruthless, and there just may be a ghost in the house. The only person Soo-mi can rely on is her sister Soo-yeon, who is seemingly being mistreated by their stepmother.
울어도 소용없어. 잘못했다는 말을 하고 용서를 빌어.
Except she isn't because she doesn't exist. In a barrage of twists, the film reveals that Soo-mi has dissociative identity disorder and has been hallucinating her dead sister the entire time. Not only that, but the real Soo-yeon is the ghost, and she gets vengeance against the stepmother responsible for her death. The remake, 2009's The Uninvited, changed a lot of story elements, but at least kept the dead sister twist.
Now you know what happened to your sister.
Tell him, Alex. Don't believe him.
She died.
Number 3, Jacob Singer, Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder is a cult classic thanks to its twisted imagery and intense plot. It follows a Vietnam vet attempting to live a normal life.
What's wrong? It's one of those days. Back is killing me. I'll go see you later.
However, he suffers from disturbing hallucinations. Although it shows Jacob injured in battle at the beginning, the film does a good job steering you away from the twist. Several other members of his unit experience similar visions, believing themselves to be psychologically experimented on without their knowledge.
They're coming after me. Who is? They've been following me.
Well, they were experimented on, just not in the way they think. The Army had developed a new drug that made users more aggressive and decided to test it on Jacob's platoon.
Even a bad trip, and believe me, I've had my share, do not compare to the fury of the ladder.
Ladder?
Yeah, that's what they called it.
It caused some to turn on one another, which is how Jacob died. The movie is actually playing out in Jacob's dying mind. Number 2, Grace Stewart, The Others. The Others follows similar plots of other haunted house movies. A family must deal with lurking spirits in their home.
For 5 whole years during the occupation, I managed to avoid a single Nazi ever stepping foot in this house, and now there is someone here, under my nose. Oh.
In addition to Nicole Kidman's performance and Alejandro Amenabar's direction, the film was praised for how it implemented the dead all along twist. Set directly after World War II, it follows Grace as increasingly spooky events begin happening in her home. It quickly becomes clear that the house is haunted, though who exactly is doing the haunting is where the twist comes in.
We must all learn to live together, the living and the dead.
The so-called spirits Grace has encountered are actually a new family interested in buying her home. And a particularly scary old woman ghost is really the medium they hired. Grace herself is a ghost, having taken her own life as well as her children's.
You were playing with the pillows as if nothing had happened. And I thought, the Lord in His great mercy.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Malcolm Crowe, The Sixth Sense. It is impossible to talk about movie characters that were dead the whole time and not immediately think of Malcolm Crowe.
That isn't magic.
What are you talking about? Of course it's magic.
The child psychologist is shot by a former patient in the opening, yet seemingly recovers. For the majority of the movie, he attempts to help the troubled Cole, who reminds him of his old patient and claims to see dead people.
I see dead people.
In your dreams?
The evidence that Malcolm never survived his shooting was littered throughout, yet Cole's struggle was too captivating for most to notice. These days, it's one of the most well-known twists of all time. Although it was surprising, it wasn't just there for shock value. The Sixth Sense showcased the power of unresolved feelings and unfinished business, with Malcolm's journey to realization being absolutely heartbreaking.
Why did you leave me? I didn't leave you.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.